Before the majestic temples and bustling cities, before the partition of the Indian subcontinent, and even before the British colonial rule, there was a time when our ancestors roamed the wild landscapes of India and set the stage for the advanced urban civilizations that we follow today. Let's walk back into this ancient era and uncover what life was like in India thousands of years ago. From the sites they chose for settlements, the urban planning they initiated, and the agricultural practices they developed, it's incredible how their early innovations still echo in our world today. The story of prehistoric India can be categorized into three main groups that emerged at different time frames around the world. These are Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. The Paleolithic Age is further divided into three categories. The Lower Paleolithic Age, which lasted from 2.5 million to 300,000 years ago, was an ice age in most parts. However, India was not fully covered with glaciers during the Ice Age. Instead, the climate was cool and dry. During the Pleistocene period, the Ice Age's effect were evident in the Himalayas, particularly in the Karakoram and Great Himalayan ranges, with various geological features and glacial lakes forming as proof. However, the peninsular parts of India showed no evidence of glaciation. In these areas, the environment was a mix of savannas and forests, teeming with wildlife, as evident from the rich sediments found in these areas. This was the time when the first human ancestors, Homo erectus, made their way to India. Homo erectus was a nomadic hunter-gatherer, constantly on the move in search for food. They hunted large animals and used simple tools to butcher their prey. But how do we know they were here? Well, archaeologists have found incredible evidence in places like the Soan Valley, which is now in Pakistan, and Atirampakam. Quartzite pebble tools and flakes were discovered in the Shiwalik Range, near Rawalpindi, in northern Pakistan. According to paleomagnetic analysis, these date back to about 2 million years ago. They represent an early industry that existed long before the creation of hand axes. The earliest hand axes, associated with the Acheulean industry, were found in the same region and dates back to about 50,000 years ago. They also used limestone for making tools and started making and using fire towards the end of this era. Other major sites where traces of this age were found include the Thar Desert, Muwar Plains, Saurashtra, Kashmir, Gujarat, Central India, Deccan Plateau, and the Belan Valley in Uttar Pradesh. Things start to get interesting during the Middle Paleolithic period, around 300,000 to 30,000 years ago, because this era was predominated by a prolonged humid phase lasting from around 140,000 to 25,000 years ago. A rich environment for hunting was created, which marked subsequent advancement in tool manufacturing. Have you heard of the Lavala technique? It's a fancy way of saying they made smaller, lighter, and more refined flake tools. They developed specialized blades, pointers, scrapers, and borers, primarily used for hunting and peeling the flesh of animals. Such tools were found in sites like the Bambeka Caves in the Belan Valley. In 1982, a fossil hominid skull cap was discovered in the Middle Pleistocene deposit in the central Narmada Valley of Madhya Pradesh. This Narmada human fossil skull was an ancestor of Homo erectus, and its age was estimated to be 500,000 to 600,000 years old. This discovery indicated that Homo erectus continued living during the Middle Pleistocene period. The transition to the Upper Paleolithic coincided with a shift to a drier climate around 40,000 years ago, lasting until around 15,000 years ago, marking the end of the Old Stone Ages. The climate became warmer and less humid, but what's important about this age is that during this time, Homo sapiens emerged in the Indian subcontinent. This period greatly belonged to the Negrito race, a population with ancient genetic lineages that diverged from other human populations tens of thousands of years ago, possibly even before the last ice age. Negritos are believed to be among the earliest humans to migrate out of Africa. They are indigenous to various regions in Southeast Asia, along with neighboring islands. However, it is not well known when they entered India, and even though there is no direct evidence, theories suggest they were the first ones to experience the Paleolithic Age in India. They settled in the hilly regions of Kellara and the Andaman Islands. In Kedar, Arula, and the Pulian tribes of Kerala closely resemble the Negritos. They have distinct physical features like short stature, dark skin, protruding jaws, and flat noses. Even though there is no direct evidence, earlier populations of humans were living nomadic lifestyles with more elaborate tools. The hallmarks of this era were bone tools like needles, harpoons, parallel-sided blades, and fishing tools. These bone tools were mainly found at cave sites in Karnool and Manchatla Chimtamani Gavi in Andhra Pradesh. Hand axes, blades, and scrapers in Bambetka, which is located south of Bhopal. Tools from this era show adaptations from working with specific materials like leather, wood, and bone. This period also saw the earliest rock paintings in the region. At the Vindhya range, local workers identified an Upper Paleolithic limestone carving believed to represent a mother goddess. Enjoying this journey through Paleohistoric India? Don't forget to subscribe because we release weekly content on the most debated subjects in primitive history. As we enter the Mesolithic period, advanced primitive technology, crafts, and burial practices emerged. In India, this age lasted from around 10,000 BC to 4,000 BC. The climate changed, and so did the humans. Temperatures began to rise, and settlers began to socialize more among themselves. They began to adopt a semi-nomadic lifestyle, starting to domesticate plants and animals. Sites like Bagor in Rajasthan show early evidence of the shift. They also began to settle near rivers, with semi-permanent settlements like Lanka indicating extended occupation. The Middle Stone Age also saw incredible technological progress with the widespread use of microliths. These tiny stone tools were used to create harpoons, arrows, and even bone tools. Many caves and rock shelters in central India have rock paintings beginning in the Upper Paleolithic period that show activities like honey collecting, dancing, and hunting. The art also suggests that some caves were used for religious activities. A belief in the afterlife is evidenced by the intricate burial practices found in Bagor. Around 1970, 5 human burials were found. One of them was identified from the Mesolithic Age. The body was laid on its back in a fully extended position. The right arm was parallel to the body, while the left forearm was bent to the right, resting on the right thigh. A time of remarkable transformation arrived with the Neolithic period. In South India's Deccan Plateau, the Neolithic kicked off around the 3rd millennium BC. So it wasn't one of the earliest Neolithic transformations globally or even in South Asia, but the Southern Neolithic, as it's called in India, fascinates scholars due to its largely homegrown development. What is interesting is that the Neolithic advancements in India are divided into 3 phases. Phase 1A that stretched between the 8th to the 7th millennium BC. During this time, Mirgarh, presently in Pakistan, was an aceramic Neolithic settlement. The main tools were stone blades like lunettes and triangles, some likely mounted on wooden hafts with bitumen. Wheat and barley domestication, along with sheep and goats, began during this phase, although gazelle bones suggest hunting was still essential. Settlements became more permanent, with homes made from mud and brick. The homes with brick walls also increased in size. A 9,000-year-old site of Neolithic settlement was discovered near Bolan Pass in Balochistan, which consisted of 4 mounds. Simple burials included shells or stone bead necklaces, baskets, pottery, and occasionally young goats or sheep. Recently, the University of Madras has discovered the burial of a child at a small settlement in southeastern India. The child was buried with pottery dating back to the Neolithic period, around 5,000 to 1,500 BC. Phase 1B, that happened from the 7th to the 6th millennium BC. During this phase, pottery emerged and agriculture improved. Cattle, particularly Indian humped cattle, became more common than other animals like sheep or goats. Small compartments, like granaries, appeared and became more common. Burials became more elaborate, with funerary chambers sealed by mud brick walls. Although the exact sites are unknown, small, hand-molded female figurines of unburnt clay were found from this era. and finally Phase 2 that began 5,500 BC, when a significant tectonic event buried the original mound under silt. Nearly all features of the earlier culture persisted, although in altered forms. Afterwards, the pottery use further increased and granary structures multiplied, sometimes on a larger scale. New crafts, including the first use of copper and ivory, appeared. Seashells and semi-precious stones like turquoise and lapis lazuli indicated extensive trade networks. But this Neolithic period wasn't limited to Mehrgarh. Saraikola, in Punjab, Pakistan, carries evidence of ground stone axes and plain burnished red-brown pottery. Barza Home in Kashmir Vale is known for its deep pit dwellings associated with ground stone axes, bone tools, and grey burnished pottery. Gufkrol in the Kashmir region represents the asymmetric Neolithic stage from the 3rd millennium and later. Paleolithic cultures of India built a foundation for the coming civilizations, like the Indus Valley Civilization. Their social organization and trade networks laid the groundwork for complex societal structures. The craftsmanship and symbolism that began in this era evolved and influenced Indian culture throughout history. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and check out our videos to learn more about fascinating discoveries of our primitive past.